The story Beware of the Dog by Roald Dahl is set in German-occupied France in 1944 in the midst of World War II. The Allied forces composed of America, Great Britain, and France were at war against the German troops led by Adolf Hitler. War had been sparked with Germany's invasion of Poland breaking the rules of the Treaty of Versailles. With Germany's invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939, Great Britain and France declared war on Germany on September 3, 1939. 4 years before the story is set, Germany invaded France on May 10, 1940. The French army was completely annihilated by German forces, and Germany took control of Paris on June 14, 1940.
In response to Germany invading France, the British began to bomb the Germans. Throughout the summer and fall of 1940, German and British forces fought in the skies over Great Britain. The Battle of Britain proved to be a turning point in World War II as Britain refused to surrender to Germany. A total of 40,000 civilians died in the Battle of Britain, and a total of 85,000 French military and 1.54 French prisoners of war were also taken by the Germans. Beware of the Dog begins with British pilot Peter Williamson flying his Spitfire after losing his right leg to cannon fire.
In Roald Dahl's story, Beware the Dog, Dahl reflects the life of World War II prisoners of war by making use of multiple types of literary devices to reveal the dangers of trusting in the unknown.
First, Roald Dahl uses simile to compare the color of the sun and clouds at altitude to establish how the Germans were not to be trusted during the World War II years. Dahl writes, "Above there was the sun, and the sun was white like the clouds, because it is never yellow when one looks at it from high in the air." Dahl's use of a simile foreshadows the coming shift in the pilot's fortune and the turn of events from smooth sailing to spiraling out of control. Dahl uses the simile to set the stage of events to come. Additionally, the comparison of the white sun to the clouds mirrors the German forces' deception and the confusion felt by Allied prisoners of war.
Secondly, Dahl's utilization of the fly in the hospital room symbolizes the confusion felt by prisoners of war and their desire to escape captivity. Dahl describes the flight pattern of the fly through the line. It was very energetic. It would run forward very fast for a few inches, then it would stop again. The fly's erratic movement symbolizes how the prisoners of war desired to break out of captivity.
Additionally, Dahl's usage of the roses in the hospital room symbolizes the hope and desire for freedom. Dahl reflects the lowliness of prisoners of war with the removal of these roses from the hospital room. Dahl describes the bareness of the room when he states, "The nurse had taken the roses out the night before. It was no longer warm or friendly. It was not even comfortable. It was cold and empty and very quiet."
Furthermore, the removal of the roses creates a mood shift from one of optimism and hope to one of doubt and fear. Dahl establishes the shift in mood when he states, "Slowly the grain of doubt grew, and with it came fear. Quickly the doubt and fear grew so that he became restless and angry."
The mood shift created by the roses reveals the dangers of trusting in the unknown and the necessity for prisoners of war to trust their instincts in order to survive behind enemy lines. As Peter Williamson stated, the kind of fear that one gets not because one is afraid, but because one feels that there is something wrong. Peter Williamson's recognition of the need to trust in his instincts accurately reflects the mindset of prisoners of war during World War II.
Next, in the description of the world outside the hospital room, Dahl's use of imagery creates a somber tone. Dahl describes the world outside the hospital when he states, "He saw a small house with a gray tile roof standing alone beside a narrow lane. In front of the house there was an untidy garden." The somber tone created by the imagery contributes to the growing recognition of the need to trust in one's instinct when placed in an unfamiliar situation.
Finally, Dahl's manipulation of the syntax from long, detailed paragraphs to short, choppy dialogue reveals the growing tension and the sense of urgency that Peter Williamson experiences when he is behind enemy lines. Dahl creates tension with Peter Williamson's failure to acknowledge the Wing Commander Roberts when Roberts asks Peter, "How are you feeling?" The growing tension experienced by Peter Williamson accurately portrays the dire conditions experienced by prisoners of war.
Through his use of literary devices in the short story Beware the Dog, Roald Dahl reflects the life and feelings of prisoners of war during World War II. Roald Dahl shows that prisoners of war must be diligent, follow their instincts, and be wary of who they trust.